Attorney General Pam Bondi has released a statement regarding her creation of the Second Amendment Task Force. Bondi says the task force will combine department-wide policy and litigation resources to advance President Trump's pro-gun agenda. The efforts will use government policy to push back on attempts to limit gun rights. Bondi is working on this initiative alongside Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche.
Within days of Pam Bondi announcing the Second Amendment Task Force, pro-gun groups are telling her which states they need to be looking at. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC. P.A.N. Firearms, your NRA certification of multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfarmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. And if you like the channel, like content, and what I do here, you can support me with the link. Everything is appreciated. Once again, online store is open. You can get some really cool merch. Also, check your notifications and make sure they're turned on. People have been telling me that they're not getting their notifications. Keep an eye on that. Check your subscriptions. If you're subscribed to me and all of a sudden you don't find me, you may want to take a look at that. But let's talk about this. Now, April 9th, Pam Bondi made the announcement that she was creating a Second Amendment task force in conjunction with the FBI and a few other agencies to protect gun rights. And oh boy, doesn't that just warm the cockles of your heart? But I want to go ahead and give you some information on exactly what she's up to.
Breaking news just coming into us now. The Attorney General, Pam Bondi, has announced in just the last hour or so the creation of what she calls a Second Amendment Task Force. It was announced in a memo that was sent to DOJ employees and obtained by NBC News. Now, in the memo, the AG is writing in part, for too long, the Second Amendment, which establishes the fundamental right to bear arms, has been treated as a second-class right. No more, she says. Let's get now to NBC's Danny Savalos, our legal analyst. Danny, what sort of legal action could a task force like this take in regards to gun laws in individual states around the country?
Well, this sounds like it's going to examine, once formed, it's going to examine ways to implement the previous executive order that Trump issued on firearms. And that is a multi-part executive order that directs DOJ to investigate different ways to really expand on Second Amendment rights and prepare a report within a certain number of days from the Attorney General and the Associate Attorney General to the President. So this is just an additional task force to sort of carry out the mission of that original executive order.
Let's underscore that. The bottom line here is that this administration is interested in expanding the Second Amendment rights in states that may have restricted it, right?
That's exactly right. And especially in light of the Supreme Court's recent gun cases, whether it be Bruin or Heller, the executive order also signals the administration's interest in expanding this kind of Second Amendment right, or to go after any states or localities that they perceive as unlawfully infringing on that Second Amendment right, that the way they see it, as an expanded right, as something that it needs a task force in order to implement this executive order.
Heard that and you saw that. Now, how far this will reach is going to be interesting, because I've said multiple times in different videos, as the court overturns restrictive gun laws, states were going to double down. Colorado just did it. In defiance of Bruin, Heller, and Heller 2, they passed what it amounts to a semi-automatic ban, but they said it's not a ban, it's a ban. But Alan Gottlieb over at the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms has sent her a letter with a list of states that she should be looking at. See if you can catch the main theme here with these states that he mentions. California, Colorado, Connecticut, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, Oregon, and Washington State. What is the common theme with all those states? They are majority Democrat run and have been so for a long time. That's the first thing. But he's telling her, if you're really serious about this task force, these are the states you need to go after. Now, how this will play out is going to be interesting for sure, because this is going to be a get some popcorn moment with this one. But let me bring it in here. Gun rights group Bondi target 2A violations in 12 specific states, which I just read to you. But 6 days after U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi announced creation of the Department of Justice Second Amendment Task Force to protect Americans' gun rights, the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms sent a letter urging her to immediately focus the task force's attention on 12 specific states where alleged egregious violations are occurring. And I read you the states. You can see them right there. And as I said, they're all Democrat controlled. But as reported earlier, activists energized by Bondi's announcement are calling for action in their states, many of which coincidentally happen to be on the above list. Now we come down to here. This is Alan Gottlieb in his letter. Quote, as you may know, the Citizens Committee is one of the nation's largest grassroots organizations with affiliate organizations in most states and members and supporters in every state. All of these states have adopted laws in recent years which have essentially relegated Second Amendment rights to the level of government-regulated privileges. Word. Period. Truth. Truth. In a statement announcing the letter, Gottlieb adds, the time has come to put the anti-right leadership in these states on notice that their crusade to destroy the individual rights protected by the Second Amendment is finished. On behalf of our members and the supporters, we're hopeful Attorney Pam Bondi brings the full force of the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division against these draconian gun control laws wherever they may have been enacted. In our opinion, the letter adds special attention needs to be paid to Washington, Oregon, and California, where lawmakers have essentially working off an agenda set by the gun prohibition lobby. CCRKBA lists impediments include permits to purchase firearms, prohibiting firearms carried in large areas, mandatory training and testing, which CCRKBA says is tantamount to a literacy test. Now, Oregon and Washington have specific right to bear arms tenets in their state constitution. California does not. And apparently, these CCRKBA is headquartered in Washington state, and they're basically going after their governor out there and the Attorney General. But I'm going to come down to here. As it turns out, one member of Congress, Colorado's firebrand rep Lauren Boebert, is also suggesting that DOJ's task force take a very hard look at her state. Posting on Facebook last week, Boebert wrote, the DOJ Second Amendment Task Force should begin their first wave of litigation against Governor Polis and the state of Colorado for signing into law the unconstitutional SB 25-003, which I talked about yesterday. And then she goes on to say the Second Amendment is clear, shall not be infringed. This is from the author of this article, but on the flip side, if Bondi's 2A task force takes the suggestions from CCRKBA and Boebert to heart, it will become harder for Democrats in a dozen states to pass and perpetrate restrictive gun control laws, especially with the Justice Department hovering over their shoulders. Preach. Let me come out of that. Now, this is all fine and dandy, but trust me, if this thing goes into full swing and she comes out hard, expect these states to try even harder. And it's going to be interesting. Like I said, it's a popcorn moment. Let's see how this plays out. But I applaud, once again, this is Bondi falling in line with Trump's executive order on the Second Amendment, and she seems to be stepping up. This is all in the preliminary stages. We will see how this plays out. But you can only hope, because I would love to see these 12 states, especially my home state, get put in line when it comes to the Constitution and rights and stop using gun death as some kind of political sport, which they always do. That's what they did in Colorado just recently to pass that law. So let's see how it plays out. But this is good news. Let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you're notified the next time a video goes live. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.